So we won't make funny faces. You know, what's funny about this is that it's live before you know it's live because,
Exactly.
yeah, it just does it that way. So we're going to spotlight Danae. And
That's me.
Danae, I'm going to invite you. You're right out there and you're ready to go. You can open us with today's daily word.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome this morning. Today's daily word, Sunday, April 23rd, 2023, is pray for others. As I pray, I affirm the activity of God in your life and mine. I am honored by the trust of those who ask me to pray with them. Whatever I am asked to pray about, my responsibility is always the same: to recognize all qualities of God are active, even in the most challenging circumstances. I remain steadfast, affirming this truth. If I have been asked to pray for healing, I release all thoughts of illness. I affirm divine life is active in every cell. I see harmony and perfect function restored. If I am praying for abundance, I entertain no thought of lack. I affirm divine wisdom, love, and understanding guiding the one with whom I pray to make wise, prospering choices. As I affirm truth for all who have asked for prayer, my awareness of God's activity in my life increases also. And from 3 John chapter 1, verse 2, it reads, "Beloved, I pray that all may go well with you and that you may be in good health, just as it is well with your soul." May the Lord add a blessing to the hearing and the reading of this word for the elevation of their minds and the edification of their soul. Amen.
Amen. And thank you, Danae. And Danae, I just actually ordained Danae as a prayer minister today. And this is before her big ordination, but she is officially prayer minister here with Unity Prosperity Ocean International and Unity World Headquarters and Silent Unity and all that fun stuff. So thank you and congratulations, Tanae. And if you ever want any prayer, just reach out to Tanae. So I'm going to remove that spotlight and we're going to move it, change the view here a little bit and get started this morning. Okay. Well, welcome in, everybody. Thanks for being here. We love having you here. We love getting together. Thanks for those of you, Sandy, for looking at some locations and things like that for us. And we are going to continue to move in that direction, making some decisions here shortly. But for today, we're going to pick off where we left off last week. I had noticed that it was quite a lengthy message last week. So I wanted to, break it in half so I wouldn't, you being so polite out there, didn't want to force you to, listen all morning and then you look at your watch. Oh my gosh, it's noon and he's still talking. Some of these churches in Detroit, that's how it goes. You get there at 9 and it's 1:30 and so you're kidding. He's just to the middle. All right. Well, we're going to dive in here today. We are talking about the Master's Promise, reminding you that over 2,000 years ago, our master teacher, Jesus, our way shower, master teacher, he said, and we find this in John 10:10, he said, "I have come so that you may have life and have it more abundantly." And so the theme in this miniseries was to look at an exploration of all that this means. So we started off last week's talk asking the question, do you believe in magic? And that positive expectancy that open heart we're called to have, that willingness to look beyond the known and into the possibilities that we have to create magic in our lives. And looking at magic, I thought, wouldn't it be fun to look at some of the tools of the trade, so to speak, that a magician uses to remind us of our divine nature and our divine identity. So last week, we took a dive in and we started with some of these things, and I decided to move to a different place today. So do you remember what we looked at last week? Last week, and I didn't have it out here, but last week it was the wizard or the magician's robe. So we were using the robe. I'll put these on at the end. I'll get all dressed up, but we are using the robe as a symbol to symbolize being in the flow, the silk robe, all flowing and all embracing and reminding us to embrace the fullness of life by being in the flow. As the robe enfolds the wizards and the wise men of old and the magicians, it could remind us to enfold ourselves in the wholeness of life, in the realization that it's all God, the up and the downs, the ebb and the flow, the law of rhythm, the ins and outs of life. It's all God. And there's good in there, even when it's not apparent to us. The next thing I wanted to move into, does anybody remember the conical hat, or I I gotta get these expressions here. The wizard's hat that I had. You can't see it real good with my background on there, but the wizard's hat. It look a little goofy in there, but what does this remind us of? Well, what better way to symbolize our connection to spirit than with the tall pointed hat like that? The alchemy of spirit, the magic, so to speak, happens when we shift out of error thinking, right? That this physical world is our source, into the realm of infinite possibilities when we consciously connect with God, our source of love, of peace, of harmony, of health, of prosperity, of everything. Ernest Holmes says in The Science of Mind, in the big book I often refer to, the substance of spirit is my daily supply. In our world of form, I know it doesn't appear that God is the essence, the source of all good. It appears that people, places, things, circumstances, conditions are the channel through which the universe supplies our good, appears to us to be the source of our good, right? You get that? The channel through which our good comes, that the universe supplies our good, appears to be the source of our good. The paycheck appears to be the source of our good, for instance. So our jobs, our investments, our pensions, our mates, present or past, appear to be the source of our good. They are not the source. They are only the channels. All of those things are avenues through which God works. But God works through many, many avenues, many, many channels. In order to be truly abundant, we must absolutely have a shift in consciousness to realize that there is only one source of our supply, and that source is God. Now, my conical hat symbolizes the magic that happens in our lives when we stop looking outward, right? We stop looking outward, which can leave us lacking what we really seek and need, and look upward. Let the point remind you to look upward, to look Godward, not outside of us, but to look up in consciousness where infinite possibilities reside and where we actually find shelter from the outer world. And we're, again, I can't stress enough, we're not just talking about, looking upward to some magical place in the sky or in space. We're remembering to look up in consciousness to the secret place of the Most High within. And that reminds me of Psalm 91.1. Those who live in the shelter and secret place of the Most High will find rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I love that from Psalm 91. Here's a wonderful story that illustrates this idea. A young man was exploring a cave near his home when the beam from his flashlight ignited a faint sparkle on the ground. He walked over to the spot and picked up a fairly ordinary looking rock. As he brushed it off and studied it more closely, he realized it was a raw diamond that had to be 5 or 6 carats large. Now, he was not an expert, but he knew it would be worth a handsome price. He put it in his pocket and explored the floor for more jewels. He found no more, so he left the cave and reached into his pocket to find it was empty. It was as if the diamond burned right through the material. He immediately went back into the cave and retraced his steps, but to no avail. He went back the next day, and the next day, and the next, and the next. Soon he lost his job as a carpenter because he failed to show up for work as a result of searching for the diamond he knew would land him a fortune. He eventually lost his home as he ran out of money to pay his rent. He set up a tent near the cave so that he could search every day. He became a hermit, giving up all his relationships and hobbies to focus on his obsessive quest. 20 years passed in the blink of an eye. He finally realized he had wasted more than a quarter of his life searching for something that might not have been as valuable as he had imagined. He decided he would spend one more day searching, and if he did not find the diamond, he would give up and start life anew. He searched and searched again on his hands and knees until he was stained and sooty with blood even. He worked for 18 hours, knowing this would be his last chance. Now he wanted to find the diamond as much to appease his guilt over wasting his life as to enjoy the elusive fortune he had originally sought. Exhausted beyond measure, he fell onto his back in despair. It hit him how ridiculous he might have looked lying there on the floor, dirty, exhausted, and completely without a life. He began to laugh, and his mind flooded with all the precious things he realized he missed. As he realized his obsession for finding the diamond, reflecting back on all of that, he began to look forward to contributing to the world again through his craft, being a carpenter, to the joy of relationships, to the love of friends. In that moment, he found a more precious jewel. The jewel he found was the jewel of understanding the sweetness of what is here now, and real versus the search to find what isn't. He felt grateful for his lesson and vowed to enjoy life for each moment, from each moment that day on. Now, that could have very well been the end and the very happy ending to the story, but there's a little PS in addition here. As he lay on his back laughing, he finally he shined his flashlight on the ceiling of the cave, which revealed a ceiling dripping with raw diamonds. He sold the diamond mine, gave most of the money to charity, married and had a family, went back to carpentry, and lived a comfortable and simple life until he died. He occasionally taught seminars on how to appreciate the magic of every moment. So, in this, look at what is surrounding you that you are missing because you're paying attention to the limitations that you have learned to accept as real. Use the wizard's conical hat here as a symbol to turn away from the limitation, from the idea of what's missing, and to connect with the source, our source, the infinite source of all abundance. All right, finally, we have none other than, I know Tanae's favorite, our magic wand here. I gotta hold it like this, right? Our magic wand here. It's our magic wand. All right, you know what a magic wand is, right? I don't have to hold it up anymore. It's appearing and disappearing. Why don't you magic wand there? Now you see, now you see it. Oh boy, I'm entertaining myself too much here today. That's for sure. Okay, the magic wand. It symbolizes the magic wand. I loved magic wand since I was a little kid. I just, you have that imagination that just believes everything, right? And the magic wand, I wanted one so bad when I was little. Our magic wand symbolizes the transformative power of living from spiritual truths, really finding our own magic in us. Yes, just wrapped up a podcast series. Well, the last one will air on Thursday. But talking about these superpowers and how we can transform our lives living from spiritual truths rather than every day affirming our lack and limitation and worry and doubt and fear. We have to affirm these spiritual truths. Why? Because living from spiritual truth is like waving a magic wand over a situation. Our habitual thought usually reinforces a situation we don't want, right? Living from spiritual truth, affirming our spiritual truth, affirming our divine identity and all these aspects and characters and powers we have, it gives us an ability to magically transform any situation. Living from spiritual truths change our world by changing us. Every circumstance or condition in your life that has been created by a false belief can be healed and transformed by an awareness of truth. You get that? Every circumstance or condition in your life that has been created by a false belief can be healed and transformed by an awareness of truth. That's how all of these new thought, not divisions, but like unity, divine science, they were all founded by affirming the truth of wholeness and healing an error state. Myrtle Fillmore, Melinda Kramer, and divine science, and on it goes. New Thought minister Reverend David Owen Ritz, in his Keys to the Kingdom course material, states a greater idea will always heal a lesser one. I want to give you three greater ideas, three abundance truths from the Key to the Kingdom materials that, if lived from, will be like waving that magic wand in your hand. Abundance truth number one: abundance is here and now a reality. And it is a here and now reality. We live in an abundant universe. You can't deny that. We live in an abundant universe surrounded by lavish abundance. Can you count the grains of sand on a beach, the stars in the heavens, or the different shades of green in your backyard? Probably not. Everywhere you look, God as nature is expressing itself in endless variations and with unlimited beauty. The abundance of life is often overlooked because we easily confuse the truth of abundance with the temporary facts of life. The fact may be that you are temporarily experiencing lack or limitation. The facts change, the truth does not. The relationship between the truth of universal abundance and the facts of our sometimes limited experience is much like the relationship between light and darkness. Light is a universal reality, yet you can experience darkness by blocking out the light, right? You can create a temporary condition that seemingly defies the greater truth. But light is real and darkness is not. You can measure the speed of light. You can quantify its physical presence as waves of photons of light. You can turn on a light bulb. But can you measure the speed of darkness? Can you quantify its physical presence? Can you turn on a darkness bulb? Of course not, because darkness has no physical reality. It is merely the absence of a very real energy called light. So it is with lack and abundance. Abundance is a tangible spiritual reality. It is the energy of God in action. We can and certainly do block it out of our experience sometimes, but it never, ever ceases to be. All right, abundance truth number 2. I'm trying to go through these quickly here. Abundance truth number 2, just like light, abundance is inexhaustible. It's unlimited, inexhaustible. We have a false belief that there is only so much to go around. But the truth is that creation is an ongoing activity of spirit. God is continually expressing itself by making things out of itself. Results that are observable through nature are flower seeds germinate, grow, bloom, seed themselves die, and the process starts again and again and again and again. Stars and galaxies do the same thing. Everything is part of an ongoing creative process. Abundance is inexhaustible because the flow of spirit is ceaseless. Whatever you may spend, lose, or give away today can be replaced tomorrow, perhaps with something greater. Definitely with something greater if we have had an expansion of consciousness. All right, number 3, everyone deserves abundance. It's not for some and not for others. Everyone deserves abundance. I like this one. We live in a universe of infinite possibility, and there is more than enough for all. You deserve abundance. It is the Father's good pleasure to give it to you. You were made in the image and likeness of God. Who are you to say you don't deserve it? Your abundance does not have to wait for humanity to erase poverty from its collective consciousness. You can help the planetary process along right now by healing your own consciousness of all belief in lack and limitation. By doing so, you become part of the solution rather than a part of the problem. Every mind that lifts itself up to perceive the infinite abundance of life adds a greater energy to the planet and makes abundance for all a bit more possible. Again, Ernest Holmes in the Science of Mind textbook says, thoughts of failure, limitation, and poverty must be counted out of your lives for all time. God has given us a power and we must use it. We can do more towards saving the world by proving this law than all that charity has ever given to it. That's a pretty powerful statement. Let the magic wand symbolize for you the transformation power of living from these three spiritual truths. The quote again, I have come so that you might have life and have it more abundantly. It may seem like referring to Jesus as a magician would seem sacrilegious or irreverent, but Jesus was a spiritual alchemist. He came to show us how to evolve into our highest potential, how to express our greatest yet to be. Earlier, I told you that I wanted to help you see the magic available to you by giving you some images to help symbolize the magic in life. And I used the trapping of a magician and a wizard of old as our symbols. Well, I think the next time we get together, I will bring these with me. I don't know how good it would come across if I put them all, not put them on right now, but we'll review them real quick for you. The wizards, try saying that real fast a few times. The wizard's robe, right? And I don't even know if I can get this thing in. I don't even know if you can see it, but I love the ability to make things appear. And this is right. All right, the wizard's robe. All right, let's look at that. Just a quick review here. This symbolizes being in the flow and embracing the fullness of life as it embraces us. As the robe enfolds me, so it reminds us to enfold ourselves in the wholeness of life, the up and down, the ebb and the flow, the in and the out, knowing that the alchemy of spirit is always present, no matter what. Speak aloud with me. Just say this. Today, I create magic as I live in the flow and embrace the fullness of life. Ceaselessly, constantly set up little affirmations for yourself. Listen to my podcast over the next few days. It talks about and teaches you to use our intangible aspects of character, our spiritual powers, our faculties of mind, and build affirmations around them to replace old, worn out thought habits in our lives. This is a good one. Today, I create magic as I live in the flow and embrace the fullness of life. All right. Our conical hat, our wizard's hat, a symbol to turn away from the limitation, turn away from the limitation, from the idea of what's missing, and connect with our higher source, to look up in consciousness to the infinite source of all abundance. Here's one. Speak aloud this with me. Today I create magic as I connect with God as my source. One presence, one power. God is our unfailing and all providing source of all good. Just simply say, today I create magic as I connect with God as my source. All right. And finally, the magic wand. My magic wand disappeared. No, it didn't, but I can make it disappear. Remember? There, now you see it. Now you don't. All right. Finally, the magic wand is symbol to the transformative power of living from spiritual truths. Let it be a reminder for you. Simple as that. Stay with me. Today, I create magic as I practice and exercise spiritual truths. Today, I create magic as I practice spiritual truth. And simply one more time, today I create magic in my life. That's it. Today I create magic in my life. Thanks be to God. And so it is. Tanae, did you want to wrap that up and put a bow on it with a prayer or anything like that, or share? That's what I have for today. We're going to keep going on the master's promise. We're going to step back from the magic, and that's not my forte, although I loved it when I was growing up. So I invite you. I want to say thanks to the people looking in on Facebook, and thank you all for being here today. Tonight, you got to share for us.
Just as we go forth this beautiful spring day, go forth in love and see the magic of everything around you, from the trees to the birds to the clouds to the people. That's it.
Absolutely. You know, that's looking through a different lens. That's shifting our perspective. That's that faculty and power of perception to see things through the lens of the divine,
Yep.
seeing all as a divine expression, a creation of God, seeing the divinity in everything. So thank you for that great reminder. All right, I'm going to take it off of social media. I want to thank everybody for looking in not only today through the power of social media, but also those that look in later in the week, later in the month, later in the year through the magic of technology, through our YouTube channel. And thank you all for being here as we call it a wrap this day. God bless you.